Let's do this again. Go.
In accordance with Frau Stanford procedures, all ships must return to the Tycoon before vol jump initiation.
Alright. Alright. Alright.
Vol jump complete. Running preliminary diagnostics. Severe hull damage has been detected following self-similar traversal. Hypothesis: each vol jump causes irreversible damage to the Tycoon structure. Predictive modeling suggests that 4 more vol jumps are possible before the Tycoon breaks apart. New mission objective established. The Protagoras possesses coordinates of the habitable exoplanet Remus. We must find the Protagoras in order to reach our destination.
Alright, welcome back. If you're watching from the previous video, I did have to build some more food insect farms over here, but not many. And now food is stabilized, so now we can focus on what really matters in this system, which is hustling around for the science. And we can't do that one, so I'm not even gonna bother. That's one we can do.
A science ship has arrived at its destination.
This is one we can do. Well, what I mean can or can't do, it's like I can let the science vessel take care of the science event. You'll see what I mean here in a second. If you don't click on this magnifying glass, you can still move your science ship. But as soon as you start investigating that event, your science ship gets locked in. So the way to do this system is to not lock your science ships in. And then,
New request awaits your attention.
yep. So now I can't move my science ship till this event ends in 4 cycles after the alloys show up. So there we go. And we got +4 happy over here, which is pretty cool. Oh, should have saved that, I guess. So where are they getting the extra happy from? Oh, right. To make a memorial. So probe just finished. And so right when you first jump into almost any sector, you just want to start slanging the probes out, trying to get as much research as you can. And hopefully you've decided to load up on at least iron from the previous sector to take with you to the next sector, just in case you want to start doing science first instead of immediately searching around for iron. I know I shouldn't have clicked on that. Alright, so we want to find a way to sustain more waste. So we want to make more waste so we can get these working more. One of the ways to make more waste is to turn on the polymer factory. We need more people. So I'm gonna reset the policy over here back to workers first. We'll go down to neutral, which is fine for now. Oh, we got nowhere to store extra steel because we're making so much steel. Okay, we turn off steel production for just a moment. And actually, I can do one even better here. I can tell Sector 1 to give Sector 2 all of the cryopods. I can enable one of these, disable one of these, enable one of these, put cryopods, and then take all of these cryopods. Over there. And once I did that, I can switch this over to iron. And hopefully they'll disassemble this building first. Okay. So that was a free amount of science. I forgot to launch another probe. I don't like the looks of any of this. Oh yeah. So I'm gonna make this promise so that way people stop saboteuring everything all the time. But if I fail that, it's a minus, permanent minus to stability. They want me to wake up 100 people within 24 cycles? No. I'm not gonna make that promise. That's too many people. I'd have to get 2 cryonic centers. Like, whatever saboteurs I get from that is whatever I get from that, because I can't sustain that. Now then, ooh. Sector 2. Sector 2 no longer wants cryopods. Sector 1 now wants all the cryopods back. There we go. That way, the cryo facility will only
An
pull the workers
accident
out.
has occurred in the tycoon.
And they should have enough people to run this facility. There we go. Oh, I forgot to launch a probe. Luckily, I wasn't waiting too long. I also need to go find just a good dab of iron real quick. Well, I don't need to, but
A
I
science
did.
ship has arrived at its
I have
destination.
plenty of iron stocked up. So I can keep my whole repairs going.
A probe has completed its
Okay,
scan.
so I can't do this one without um, a research, so I'm gonna move on without investigating. This one I can do something about, it's just is what it is.
A science ship has arrived at its destination.
Okay, so we need more workers over here because someone got injured again. That's okay because we're only waking up workers. That's pretty good. Okay, so I could do this event and it doesn't cost me any resources, but I don't want to do this event because what it'll do is give a stability penalty after a while. It doesn't hit you with the penalty right away, but it will hit you with one.
Population transfer complete.
Oh, I almost investigated that
A
without
science
grabbing the
ship
science
has
first.
arrived at its destination.
It's a bad habit to break, but it's really hard to break, or it's a good habit to break, but it's really hard to break. Okay, so all of these are kind of terrible options. This one will kill all the crew in the ship. This one will just give you cryopods, I think. This one will only give you materials. I think this is the only chance for science. And so yeah, so we're all about that science around here. So for this one, we want to do the geological analysis. And that cost a fair amount of alloys, and while we're right at the beginning of the sector, full on alloys, might as well just spend them. Okay, Mac R is another one we can actually
A science ship team
do.
has completed a task.
Oh yeah, this also gives you the fire starter upgrade from analyzing the ship. Well, it makes it available to research, and it's not very useful until like, or you're not even gonna bother trying to research this till like way later. So it's cool that it's unlocked, but there are so many more priority things to research that that one's just like a cool. You got it. Thumbs up. How we doing on conditions? Good.
No more
Oh yeah, I built a
resources
second med
available to
facility because
mine.
everybody decided they wanted to stub their toes today. So I had to get that second med facility to hand out band-aids for paper cuts so that people go back to work. We're gonna have to build another house over here for population. That's not a big deal. Right now I'm just kind of winging it with a lot of these. So
Administrator, a new request awaits your attention.
turn on. No.
A science ship has arrived at its destination.
I don't know if I necessarily need this one turned off and this one turned on, or vice versa. Alright, I have a bad habit of doing that. I noticed that in my video. I can't help it. You've only made one trip so far? Are you kidding
Population
me?
transfer complete.
Yep. This one only costs 10. So we're gonna do that. This one's actually one of the cheapest in the sector. This one's one of the most expensive for what you get, and this one's kind of in the middle.
Neocont protocols
And there's
have
one over here,
identified
which
a new
it's not
planet
really worth it right now.
suitable for our colonization test program.
Actually, I'm gonna get this one over here just so I can send Bjergsen over to it, dodging the danger cloud, and then send him back out. Hopefully, with all of that savings that I have on the science, I'll have the research that I want. Oh,
A probe has completed its scan.
okay. Ooh, I should be paying attention to how many workers I have in here now. That should be fine for now. And I'll just need to place another, uh, go on the safe side and put 2 more down. And then food should be stable. Yep. There we go. Okay, that looks like that's it for points of interest for now. So now I can start hunting around for more iron deposits. Wow, that ship took forever. Well, we are closer to this side, I guess.
A probe has completed its scan. An accident has occurred in the Tycoon. Administrator, a new request awaits your attention.
So there's another upgrade unlocked that we're not going to be getting, but
A science ship team has completed a task.
and here's what we're really after. Oh, great. Oh, somehow they discovered that. That was probably Mac, our, or the ship that was analyzed. So that was the negative penalty I was trying to avoid. But here we are. And right now I'm losing 0.4 trust a second, which is pretty negligible. So what can I do about it? I could remove some more of these uh, insect farms and then put another stability down. Or I could switch back the policy of waking people up to everyone again, which I'm not really overly fond of. Changing the policy back and back and forth is annoying. So I think I will just stabilize the sector with just a building. Everybody's trying to get out of work again. You guys realize that if you stop working, you all starve, right? I'm gonna turn off the steel mill for just a little bit. Because I actually want to create some room in these stockpiles. So I can dismantle a building or two. But it's not a... The minus 0.4 is not really a pressing priority right now. I think I need to pull all of my my cryopod stuff out of here because I need to get the electronics factory up and going. So, here's what I think I'm gonna do. Dismantle that building. I'm going to turn this building off and shunt iron over, or alloys over. And then I'm going to
A science ship team has completed a task.
I'm gonna set this site
The
out
science ship
to
has
be my
arrived at its destination.
cryo area.
A probe has completed its scan.
It's gonna be kind of a pain, but oh well. Gonna overload my workforce and hopefully I don't run out of food during that time. I shouldn't. Okay, so this one, this is all the science we're gonna get basically out of this. And you can you can pause the video and read that if you want. But do not click descend into the cavity and study the spear. You'll lose the crew and the ship. So when you leave the planet, something else will happen. And it's just lore and a text blurb, but
A science ship
I
team
think it's
has
pretty neat.
completed a task.
Remember, don't click on the investigation for, especially that one, because you need the exoskeleton and the deep dive apparatus. This one just needs the deep dive apparatus and a whole bunch of alloys. I think this one's the most expensive for the least return. So this happens. The original crew got replaced with 5 aliens that look like brand new people wearing suits from Tycoon. Interesting. So we have to activate the Naomi protocol. Now remember, we made that promise to not let 5 people or not let anybody die. So technically, they didn't die. They just turned into brand new people. So I don't know.
A science ship has arrived at its destination.
Now then, when they mean dangers of the exploration missions, that's when you investigate something in an event. If I were to send this ship somehow through this cloud and it blew up, it would not ruin the dangers of exploration, so I don't have to worry about that. But I'm going to avoid sending my ships through the danger cloud as much as possible because that gets expensive quickly. This one's a colonization mission, so we don't have any non-workers woken up. So even if we wanted to do this one, we couldn't. Alright, how's it going over here? Let's stabilize this sector again. And now, sector 1 needs to fork over their electronics to sector 2. Nah, yeah, okay, whatever. I'll build more cryo storage over here. And I'll probably have to transfer some workers over. Ooh, that's a lot. I forgot that was going up by 10. Yeah, 15 workers should be fine. Yeah, plenty. Let me just power down for a second. And actually power this one off.
A science ship has arrived at its destination.
Okay. Again, this one is a this one is an alloy sync one, and I think it's one of the more expensive ones. Plus, you'll need to move the Ixion to over here, so your cargo ships don't go through there. Or not Ixion, but the Tycoon. So once they're done hoovering up that science, just make them leave. And we are almost done with tech level 2.
Population transfer complete.
We're almost tech tier 3, which means we get the upgrades for this. And then the game is basically
A science ship has
then
arrived
then
at
we've
its
made it past
destination.
the most difficult hurdle of this game, which is managing your alloys, because those 2 upgrades for the steel mill, even though they don't seem like they do a lot, will allow you to stop worrying about alloys so much. And basically 2 steel mills can carry you the rest of the game at that point, depending on what you do. Okay, so I can't deal with this event just yet, not without some more research. Send him on down. Ah, there we go. Oh, yeah, that's a really nice spot for that. And this science ship for now can probably just come back to the Tycoon or just sit right there until we're ready to deal with that. Or this. Oh, wait, no. There's one more we can do. So send it back here and we can actually deal with this now because there's basically no strings attached. We already figured out that the Endemeki was the reason that all these ships that are from our sister ship are dead or blown up. And the crew's scared. Ah, yes. Oh, I can't change policies here.
A science ship has arrived at its destination.
Alright, one more research to go, and then we're at Tech Tier 3. And we can actually change that one's flight path mid-flight. I just didn't want to go into the cloud. And yeah, we have plenty of resources at this point. They are getting low because I did turn off the bolt furnaces, which I should turn back on.
An accident has occurred
And
in the
immediately get
Tycoon.
punished for. What in the hell? I could just lowered the workforce required by 20. That was special. I hope the medics in the. I mean, I don't want the crew to die, but I hope the medics like strangle them till they're almost dead in the hospitals for them pulling that stunt. Just skipping out of work any way you can. Anyway, this is a great sector to start working on electronics or yeah, electronics. And so that's what we're going to do in Sector 1.
Has arrived at its destination.
And the electronics factory will also output more waste, which will turn into food.
A probe has completed its scan.
Oh yes. I need to change the policy here so I can break down these for their electronics. I think get the electronics factory set up while I set this sector up for bringing more people out of cryo. I might as well scan some high concentrations of silicon while we're waiting. There's actually 45 polymer just waiting for it to pick up. I don't want to pick that up just yet. I actually want to use um, the factory to make polymer so I get more waste out of it. I have a stockpile that can handle another. Temporarily, I'll just turn this into cryo storage and let them bring the cryopods over. Yep. Yep. Now I could go for the crop farm, and the crop farm is fairly decent, but then I'd have to start mining ice, and
A
I don't want to
science
do
ship
that
team has completed a task.
because
A
the ice
probe
factor
has
takes a ton
completed
of
its
workers
scan.
too. Previously, I did go the ice route, but um, and that works. You can go ice, but this way is a whole lot better, it seems. Because I mean, that's eliminating one major resource that you don't even have to play with anymore. You don't have to juggle around.
Administrator,
And
you
depending on how
can
well it goes,
implement a new policy.
well, I mean, you can always change your mind way later in the game too. Because the algae farm is actually really good. The regular farm isn't as great. Oh, okay. Oh, so yeah, that point 0.3 negative from this policy is now corrected.
A science ship team has completed a task.
Yay, everybody's happy. Yeah. And since I don't have cryopods, I can actually turn these storages into something else. Leave one of them as cryopods, or somewhere as cryopods, because this is the only ingress point to the ship for all resources. And well, for now, I'm not gonna bring any cryopods in anyway, so for now, I want to use these to drain both iron. Well, not that one. I'm not moving that one. To drain iron here. And these are all empty, so I guess I'm breaking those down. And the reason I'm breaking these down is to make room. Because this empty space, those two squares in the middle, if that was bothering anyone, they were empty for a purpose. This one's going to be my waste storage right now, because I'm going to dismantle this one. Or this one. And cool. With that, we should... Actually, we should be done with science now. Yes, we are at tier 3. So, since I'm not hurting on since I'm not really hurting on alloy right now, I'm actually going to go for intelligent lab, which is even better, because then I generate a lot more passive science, just farting around doing whatever. I'm going to have way more science by doing this. And I should have got this, like, I don't know, like 3 minutes ago, but basically I got it as fast as I could. And now I'm just having a nice, easy, like, kick back, relax. You know, Like, I don't have to, I'm not stressing out about trying to get my second sector already up because it's already up. I'm not worried about food because it's doing fine. So now I can start making the next thing in the production chain that I need. And that's going to be electronics. We only make 2.2. Um, Actually, I need to bring in some carbon, it looks like. There we go. Eventually, I'll move iron processing to Sector 3. All of iron processing, I think. And I'll turn Sector 2 into um, food processing. Or food making. Maybe my food sector. And then I'll keep shifting the cryopods down further, or wake all of them up, and then delete all the stuff required for it. So this is going to be silicon. This can be iron, because it's right next to the steel mill. This can just sit there for now until I have a desperate need for storage, and so can this one. Let's see here, and I think I need to move more food over. I think I can get away with just deleting this one. And then I'll move the construction up, and then electronics come in. Okay, so research just finished. Oh, that's nice. And now I have plenty of science left over to get the best 2 researches in the game. They don't look like much, but trust me, you want those first. Ooh, and I'll be getting more research from here. And then we can start doing the fun part of the game, which is playing around with all the upgrades. Like the next tier better housing. Or mood boosting housing. Which is, yeah, that'll be the next thing on the chopping block, because then I can not have to worry about a -1 penalty. That This is my free constructor here, so it instantly builds and instantly deconstructs. There we go.
An accident has occurred in the tycoon.
All right. Should be gold.
A science ship team has completed a task.
Oh, just went from 15 to 13. And it's gonna go even lower. 13 to 10. And that's the last of the science that I can get for a while. Investing the geological formation here is just a time waster event. You don't get anything for it. Maybe some flavor text. So I'm not interested. I want the science first. Now I send the Bjergsen back over here. Because I will eventually research both of the things needed for this one. I send the Ripley here to get the... And I'll have the exoskeleton for this one eventually as well. Oh, wait. After I gather up all the research, that is. No, I think I can put an extra storage over here. Because it's the only thing that'll fit. Or not a constructor, a storage. Or a battery, I guess, but I already have enough for now. Not really, but you don't know that yet. I guess I could look around for more silicon. There's a big amount of, there's a good amount of iron right here. And more silicon. That's cool. Whenever they get done with, so I want, Bardish to go, wait. There we go. Divvy up the priorities. You don't have to worry about traveling through this area. It's all the ice field. And at first I thought this star was a neutron star, and I was gonna be in deep crap when I entered the system, but no, it's a white dwarf. You can click on it. I don't know if you can click on every star in the center of the system, but this one you can. So, because I know in the next system I don't think you can. But the next system is it's a barrel of laughs. We're gonna have a good time. I really like that I'm stockpiling food quite heavily right now. That's a good sign. In fact, since how Sector 2 is going to be the food sector, Sector 1 is going to request even more food. So I finally have enough workers in both sectors. Well, I've had plenty in both sectors for a while now, but it's finally to the point that when one of them starts throwing a hissy fit and they decide they're going to stub their toes so they can avoid work today, we have plenty of workers to take their spot. So now, the most important... Oh, there's actually two important researches. I didn't realize this one became available as well. So this is going to produce more waste from our workers, or whoever's living in the crew quarters, which is, just so good. Because we're going to start waking up a lot of workers at that point. Because they'll be able to sustain themselves through waste. Food-wise, which is interesting. And then the one we're really after right now is this one. Because it's a high quality accommodation. And then we'll basically do what we did when we first upgraded homes. We'll just break all the houses down and build up the new ones, one at a time. And then we can also get the first upgrade for the alternative life centers, which we have. And the reason we chose alternative life centers over building memorials, even though they cost workers and more power, because these cost no power to build, is well, first of all, they fit better. They don't take as much space. But second of all, if you don't have alternative life centers, the crew finds a way, or the crew starts complaining that they want one and they want you to unlock it or they want you to build one. And when you start, it's a background thing that when you start telling your crew no about their requests all the time, they start sabotaging your other buildings more often. So you want to say yes to the requests you know you can handle. You want to do that as much as possible. And if you can't handle their requests, you say no. And it's a hard no. And most of the time you're going to say no. And sometimes they'll just throw up requests that I think that are just stupid. It's like, no, you're an idiot. Nope, no request for you. Request denied. All right, so now we can start upgrading to the better quarters, and that'll give us another stability point in each sector once most of the people are living in those, which is great. Mm, I wouldn't consider. You don't have to worry about your mess halls not being able to feed enough people until you start seeing a pop-up that'll say you don't have enough mess halls to feed your crew. Then you can start worrying about either throwing down another mess hall and then worrying about upgrade the research upgrades in here. So for now we're fine. We don't need that. The upgrades we got to unlock. This one, when the power goes out, half the trust penalty. For right now, it's not a big problem because we don't have a ton of crew. When we start getting thousands of crew, then this starts becoming more tempting, but that's way later in the game. Because the more crew you have, whenever a trust event or something like a blackout happens, the more crew you have, the more they all contribute to that negative trust factor. So if you have an extreme amount of crew and you don't have this upgrade and you go out of power for whatever reason, you blackout or overload, um, your trust will rapidly deplete. And if you have too much crew, like way too much crew, then what can happen is you can go from like 100% trust bar to like 0. But that's like extreme levels of crew. And if you have that much crew at that point, you'll have if you're running out of or if you're browning out at that point, you have bigger problems. So it sounds nice on paper, but eh. And I mean, constructing buildings 25% faster doesn't. It sounds nice, but you could just build a second construction site, and those are the two we unlocked in this sector. So that sounds cool. Now then, um, some other good ones you can go after are you start down the tree for getting more science every time your science vessels uh, generate them, which that's pretty handy. um, yep, I think you can actually start that. Yeah, you can start that now. Um, this is pretty nice if you want to get a lot of electronics quickly, but it's not really necessary. Same for polymer. It's not as necessary. These two are vital. The rest of these, not really necessary. This one can be make the waste treatment center really overpowered, and you can make iron. You can make one out of. You can choose to make either iron, polymer, or electronics from waste treatment centers from just generating waste. So that's really good. And I forgot I am using the waste economy, so I want this upgrade next. Now, at this point, if you're using crop farms instead of going the waste economy, you want to just straight up abandon crop farms as soon as you can for algae farms because they take less water and produce more food, I think. Because each one of the plots that you make, or each one of the farm pieces of the algae farm makes the equivalent of like 300 food. And so at maximum upgrades for this, you can have, because these upgrades increase the plot, and you start out with 4 plots that you can place around this. And then this gives a +1 plot, and this gives a +1 plot. So yeah, you could do the math. 300 times 6. That's a lot of food. That's a lot of food fairly quickly too. And the only downside is the you have to have a water station or a water maker, the fusion station. And if you're running water right now, it's especially right now where this doesn't have any upgrades, keeping the farm supplied, keeping one farm to 2 farms, or like even trying to keep one farm supplied with water can be such a challenge right at this moment in the game. And yeah, so that's those upgrades explained. This is tempting because then I can just flip flop. Um, uh, I can flip flop. What is it? Waking up only workers to everyone back and forth faster, so I could manage that faster. Manage that the negative what is it? Stability faster. So that's cool. Um, these will get later once we actually have more crew, and it's actually really useful because you will get enough crew for this one. And so that's a plus a stability point, and that's a plus a stability point. And stability becomes a big factor later on in the game. You can't just go through the game without ignoring stability. So this really helps out a lot, but it's for later. None of this in here is really useful except for unlocking other stuff. This is actually really useful. Tell them what they need to hear and shaping worker behavior. And plasma cutter, the more efficient you can make your EVA airlock for um, repairing your hull, the more efficient that is, that's the less and less uh, alloys that you're using on your hull all the time. And so uh, once you once you start increasing the repair efficiency, it really starts to stack up, and you really stop having to worry about constantly keeping your alloys up. And then like once you get like all of these researched, at that point you just don't even worry about alloy anymore. You just build 20 different buildings all at once, and then you get all your alloy back through your steel mills. It's great. But right now, actually, this is one of the ones we're gonna get, but I don't know if it's gonna be the very next one. All of this is optional, but I mean, once you don't have important stuff to spend science points on, I mean, improving your probe launcher is cool. These ones are necessary after a while because you can only build so many solar panels until you can no longer, and so these ones have become really necessary. And what's really hilarious about this one in particular is that this upgrade will help you the most, I want to say, in just this sector, the sector we're in. Because when you move the Tycoon into the ice area, which you'll have to at some point for the final objective, every now and then the solar panels get damaged. But we're not going to unlock this in time for that, so it's just kind of hilarious. This is kind of a meme. Um, we will need to be getting exoskeletons and deep dive apparatus for um, to in this sector, so we'll be getting these soon. Emergency cryopods will be useful for certain key events that happen, but that'll be intentionally, that'll be at least 2+ sectors away, so it's not as vital. Automatic ship reparation is also semi-nice for those events that are like, oh, your whole crew died, but you can recall the ship. So, and the reason you want to recall your ships is because each of your ships level up, and as they level up, they get better at what they do, basically. So you want to level up your ships, especially the cargo ships. They're able to hold more cargo, and the mining ships mine faster. And you'll notice on the left-hand side in the notification bracket that the you'll see a notification every now and then that one of your ships is leveled up or gotten better at something, and it'll tell you exactly what they do over there. So that's pretty cool. Um, this I don't think is ever really that good. These are kind of good if you want to stay in a sector for a really long time, but ultimately those aren't the greatest. Self-welding. This is kind of like this is a got you upgrade or a gotcha upgrade, as I want to say. Like, ha, gotcha, because it makes you think that once you get this upgrade, you can send your ships into that danger cloud and they'll be fine. When really, when you get this upgrade and you send your ship into the cloud, it's really more like a 50-50 chance that your ship doesn't blow up. So it's not that great, and it doesn't feel great when you get this and then send your ships into a dangerous area and then they still get destroyed anyway. It's not a great feeling. Wasting 40 research points on this does not feel good, and that's the same with this. So if you can avoid doing this, um, then don't. But I mean, you'll want these by next sector, perhaps. It depends on how you play, and you'll see what happens in the next sector. We'll get there. Battery research. Batteries become more important. Like I said earlier about power outs, the more you get your crew. So like this is kind of like late game stuff, and by the very end of the game, you do want the tier 3 battery unlocked, but you can do that like um, 2 systems away from now. You should have plenty of research to start dealing with all that. And then like the rest of this is just like nah. The upgrading this will potentially come in handy later on, depending on how you play. And then the rest of it is just it's whatever you want. The train stations are really nice because then you can get the Exo Fighting Dome, and then you get a +1 stability bonus across your whole ship, which is cool. But this building is the biggest building in the game, I want to say, so or one of the biggest buildings in the game, so that's kind of unfeasible at this point. And one of the most surprising buildings in the game is actually this whole temple, because uh, each sector will need the cult of the whole in their sector first, but once you build this, it's a teeny building. This is a very slim building. It's the same size as the houses, and it's built on the whole. So it's just a little sliver of a building, that you can squeeze in almost anywhere if you really, well, if you really try. You pretty much get that in just anywhere you want on the whole, and it can give you a +1 stability bonus. And the upgrades for it just increase. You just get a flat out even more stability bonus. So you get a +1, +1, +1 for each of those upgrades. So if you're having real stability issues late game, this is going to be your best friend. And then another one that's going to be great is the health center when you combine it with your train station. It's kind of buggy, but the health center gets your crew members back to work faster than the regular medic station or the regular infirmary. And you can build this. It's a pretty big building, but once you plop one of those down and have train stations made and across all your sectors, uh, then they'll just ship all their wounded to that sector to have them heal, and then send them back once they're healed. And then you can delete all your infirmaries around, which opens up more room to build stuff you need. So ultimately, a space saver in your other sectors, which is very nice. And then the buggy part of it is, every time you open up a new sector that doesn't have a train station, you will need to you'll have to deconstruct and rebuild this building for it to recognize that that building, or you'll need to build the train station for that new sector first, and then for that sector to realize that they can ship their wounded out, you'll need to rebuild the health center, which is kind of weird. It's buggy and strange. Every interaction with the train station is kind of buggy and messed up. Uh, Nuclear power plant, useless. You can beat the game without this. And okay, so I shouldn't say useless. There are some people that'll probably use it or think it's neat, but once you realize that these are really important, and then like you start getting stuff like power cost reduction on some of your buildings, uh, these become kind of redundant and useless. And you might do a little power juggling between your buildings, but yeah, in for my opinion, the nuclear power plant is neat and useless. Um, Same with the water treatment plant. I didn't use it when I played my all the way through the first time. I might find a reason to use it. Like maybe I'll get a algae farm going, and then I'll feed it off of this, and maybe that's the way I go for a large population. Who knows? Uh, like I said, train stations. There's a lot of buggy interactions right now at the train station. A lot of reasons why your crew seem to be dying or starving to death all the time. It's because you're some people are running out of food in a completely different sector and then taking the train over to the next sector to try to eat or something. Like there's all sorts of weird bugs that going on with this, so it's nice, but it's kind of flawed. And then drone bay is super nice. Once you get all six of your uh, sections of the ship open, you'll really start to notice that transferring cargo between the sections is just a huge pain because it clogs your system, and then everything starts showing up late and it starts becoming a huge problem. This alleviates that. And yeah, the drone bay is really nice. So in the next sector, the sector afterwards, I think I'll grab it up depending on how much I need it. I'll grab it and I'll just blast through all the upgrades as fast as I can. And moving the tycoon faster. This is more like it's a good thing when you have a huge population again. The whole batteries and how much power you have kind of deal. So I already explained that to death. But that's just another thing that ties into the power and how fast your trust can fall. The faster your ship moves, the faster you get to your destination, the faster the power comes back on, or the batteries start charging. So yeah, I think I've gone over most of them. The upgrades you will want, you're gonna need to upgrade this at least once to get upgrades for other buildings. 'Cause I believe the Cryo Center has one locked. Yeah. And the reason you want some of that is, I believe, yeah, this one. the the DLS Center. This is one of the most important researches as well if you like having more workers than non-workers, right? So reduces the -3 stability penalty to a -1 stability. And all you need is this upgrade here and Infirmary 1, is that what it said? Oh no, controlled thermal shock. So you need 35 points of research, 65 points of research, 95 points of research, and then 40 points after that. In order to get this, but that's one of the priorities I'll be going after. One of the more important researches. Anyway, let's go upgrade all the crew quarters. Oh yeah. You know, in theory, these ones should be the iron or alloy. All right. I don't have any electronics. Hang on a second. I think I can get away with upgrading one of these. I forgot about electronics. Each one of the nicest buildings needs one electronic, which right now we're really low on, but we're gonna remedy that real soon. One wants one. If you leave it like that, they'll balance each other out. Okay, cool. That's a colossal amount of steel. That's additional 40 steel or alloy to build that building, but
An accident has
I
occurred
have
in the
plenty.
tycoon.
I should have plenty of alloy the rest of the game, really, because of those upgrades. And now I should be making a whole bunch of waste, that's going to be interesting to see how that works out. I'm trying to think. I just barely went through all of the stuff and pointed out the ones I really want. And now since I'm so efficient, I'm going to skip the EVA and just go straight for the DLSS one. And since I'm going for the DLSS, that one, I should go for this one first. Or actually, even better, is I should look into what I need to get this. Okay, so I need every other upgrade, basically. Which is, that's quite a bit of research. So in the next sector, I will more than likely get this one. It'd probably be the most useful to try and gun for it right now, if I planned on staying excessively long in this sector, which if I end up staying excessively long here, this will be the way to go. And that one upgrade just went through for, I believe, the buildings, right? Yes. So now we're gonna generate more waste. Which sounds like it would be a bad thing. But waste equals food now, so... Mm. Yeah, I need to get my electronics up and rolling. So for that, I want this ship to go get some electronics. Or some silicon, I mean. Or just get the electronics themselves. I can't believe I didn't see that. Alright, I want to go there. So I need deep dive apparatus and exoskeleton. Yeah, I'll just finish that research off and then we'll slowly get deep dive apparatus and exoskeleton. Then I can get more research out of some of the planets here. And if you're doing what I'm doing and have no non-workers available to you, don't even click on this when a science ship is here. You'll never get the science ship to leave because this needs colonists, and you make colonists out of non-workers. And right now there's nothing but workers, which is the best way. I'm doing fine on power because of the previous sector. I built all the solar panels. Whoa, that's a lot of carbon. Okay, I should actually build another solar panel if I can get away with it, because that'll use up a ton of polymer. Once you get all these solar panels, be very careful about grabbing polymer, because once you grab the polymer, you got nothing to spend it on after you do this, or ships if you keep blowing up your ships. But if you start blowing up your ships, you're gonna start stacking negative stability penalties. So don't do that unless you have to. There we go. And the polymer factory should start. It's all coming together. Oh, I gotta send Ripley over to there. And now I don't have to be so stressed out about iron anymore either. Yeah. Yeah, if you made it to this point, you've made it. You've now opened yourself up to tons of amazing options. You don't have to worry about pretty much anything anymore as long as you just pay attention. So yeah, once you've made it to this point, The rest is on you. You know, I still have plenty of space here to build up however I want. I can. I'm gonna get this electronics factory going. I think I'll keep the video going
Probe has
just until I
completed
get
its
the
scan.
electronics factory rolling, and then, or actually, I can have the electronics factory rolling now. It takes 30 workers, so I'm gonna need to turn off something. Um, I could turn off a spaceport. I could turn off the probe launcher. I don't want to turn off the EVA, but I could.
An accident has occurred in the tycoon.
I could turn off. Since how we're doing so well on steel or alloy steel, whatever, same thing. Just do that. There we go. And this takes a whopping 30 silicon per electronic. Don't worry about that. It's really a non-issue. It sounds like it's an issue, but it's not. You'll end up getting so many electronics through the course of the game, and there's enough silicon around that it's. Don't worry, don't sweat it too much. Especially don't freak out about it and then rush to get the research that reduces it. Reduces the. Don't rush this research. It's not nothing to worry about. If you're really worried about not having enough electronics, there's a better way, and it's through the waste treatment center, because the waste treatment center can make electronics as well. So especially if you're following what I'm doing and doing exactly as I'm doing, and you
Probe has
just
completed
researched
its scan.
this one, so your colonists are now just making waste in their houses. Yeah, just slap down one of these bad boys, and you're off to the races with as many electronics as you could ever want. And this is really powerful for alloy as well. And you can also get polymers out of this thing. Like this is like the everything building. You want it. It's good. It's real good. I'm definitely gonna be using it at some point. It takes 20 workers, but yeah, that's a good building to have. I was just over here. How are you guys working extra hours all of a sudden? Oh, everybody just decided they wanted the day off today. Get back to work. All right. Well, yep. That's where I'm gonna call the video. I hope it was helpful. If you made it this far and you want to tackle the rest of the game, go for it. Maybe I'll just to polish off this sector and some extra tips and tricks. Wait till you get exoskeletons and deep dive apparatus before you finish off some of these planets. Um, I would tell you the correct option, but really, if you want to find the correct option, just save your game before you investigate that event. And then if you get a failure state that you don't like, load your game back and um, try again. I mean, it's a single player game. Like, who's gonna report you to the save scum police? You know, the save scum police are gonna come to your house and be like, "You can't do that. You're arrested. You're going to jail for the rest of your life." Like, no. And then this event needs exoskeletons as well. This event will give you an extra cargo ship if you make the right choices. Don't attempt this one without exoskeletons or your crew will die. And the more crew, especially your expedition crew, the more those people die, the faster you get negative stability penalties stacking up. Like I said, this one's a colonist one, so if you're doing what I'm doing, we don't have any colonists we can even train, so avoid that one. It's not a big deal if you avoid that. It's not a whole lot of science anyway. And then to get this one, the safe way to get to this one, it also requires deep dive. That's like basically like 40 science or something like that. But the way you get it is just hop the tycoon over to here, hop the tycoon out to here, and then Yeah, probably the most useful tip is when you want your cargo vessels and your mining vessels, because you want a cargo vessel for that. When you want your cargo vessels to come back to the ship, take away all of the priority in here. Then the cargo vessels won't have anything to do, and they'll come back to the ship and dock with the Tycoon. They'll just drop whatever they're doing and come back. So there's that. Yeah. Actually, I think now that I think about it, I could probably tear this down and not even bother collecting silicon and just build the waste treatment center right up here or right in here, and just set that to make electronics. I should be making not a lot of waste, but I should be making a lot more waste, and I can just convert that into electronics. So maybe I'll do that. And then I don't have to worry about ever picking up silicon, because once you pick up a resource, you can't throw it back out the airlock. There's no way to get rid of it. So once you grab it, you're stuck with it. So be careful grabbing up resources you don't need, especially like things you're not going to ever use. If you're never going to use ice, for instance, or hydrogen, like don't pick it up if you don't need it. Basically. Anyway, that's the video. Hope it was helpful, and thanks for watching.